Welcome back, everybody. Here we're broadcasting live from the Beacon Lounge, South by Southwest, brought to you by What Gives. Really helping me and helping us put this together, and Dio is helping make this show today happen. And Chris Brogan has joined us, and I'm so excited because we just had Jeff Pulver and now Chris Brogan, and to me, both of these gentlemen make technology human, and that's so important in today's world, especially in the nonprofit world. You have a New York Times bestseller, Trust Agents, and one part I read, it said leverage transparency. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I mean, I think we've kind of, through society, we've done a lot of stuff where we try to hide how we're doing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there not doing as well as they act like, you know? That's because a little bit of pride, a little bit of what we've been taught by our parents, a little bit of what society seems to want to teach us, that we all have to look like everything's just great. And everything's not always just great. And there's people who are, not making ends meet. There are people who aren't really getting it all put together. I mean, you could be kind of a downer about it. That's not going to help anybody. It could be, what you preach a lot, which is, just kind of state it what it is, and then let's get to how we fix it.
Right. I know in the nonprofit world, it's very frustrating for me anyways, especially I have the homeless services lens, that's where I come out of, is transparency is so scary to them. So they don't get the benefit of social media. What is the benefit of being transparent?
I think the benefit of using these kinds of tools to have conversations that we get to have is you get to see something that's really easy to hide. You get to see something that is not necessarily in your stream. You get to see an experience that maybe you haven't had just yet. You get to try to feel what they're feeling. And really, we buy from people we love, we buy from people we know. Well, it's the same thing as we buy into causes by feeling and seeing what they're seeing. There's one of the episode just people I remember was this guy just sort of saying, it really can happen in your life. You can go from being just so set up to nothing at all. And he just emoted this feeling that a lot of us have in this kind of economic crisis. And I think that's really what's going to help keep those services alive.
Well, you bring up a good point. How does a cause stand out and get attention? I mean, I'll do a little plug here for Skip One. I love the Skip One guys. I love the organization and what they stand for, but they caught your attention, and then you start talking about it. How does a nonprofit stand out to get talked about?
Sure. I mean, I had the opportunity to meet Shalene Bryan and the rest of the team at Skip One, and the opportunity was to watch her feel so passionate for her to emote and just tell that story about how she was doing what everybody does, which is give in the simplest, easiest way, and how she was really questioned about, is that money really going where it's going? And she decided to go on a trip to find out, who does that? Who gets off their couch and books a ticket and goes to Africa to figure out if the money really got there? She did. And so that's kind of really, that part of the story really turned me off. And then what else it did, this is the part that a lot of charities don't figure out so well, they make it so easy. Skip One makes it really easy to take 10 or 20 bucks out of your pocket and give it, which if you make it hard, if you make it too difficult for the transaction, that friction keeps me from doing something even if I want it.
Many years ago, not many years ago, about a year ago, before we actually became friends, I have it in my favorites. You tweet that something about if you want people to give to your cause, make it ridiculously easy. Make the message simple and make it ridiculously easy. I don't see nonprofits doing that. I mean, there's a lot that are sticking through that. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Chris Noble, and I thought there was a lot of donor fatigue. Because in my stream, I just see people asking.
Right.
But I'm looking at that nonprofit space. So do you see that? Because nonprofit space might not be, your lens.
So I work with a different nonprofit every month, and I'm a little lazy for March, but I fixed that because we did this thing for autism kids for summer camp. We just did a giving burst, and within one day we filled up this lady's request.
Awesome.
And I just asked everybody else to help. But I guess the step that's missing, Mark, the step that people could do is when someone like Skip One figures it out, do the case study, show everybody, this is how we did it, this is how we made it so damn easy. And then, I mean, share that knowledge. I mean, there are cause technology groups that are helping for that. But I mean, step one is make it easy. I guess step two should be make it ridiculously easy for others to do what you did.
Another thing that nonprofits fail, to me, that I think about, is talking about other people, even your competition. Again, I'm getting stuff off your tweets, you know, where you say nobody blows your own horn as good as you, but balance it out by talking about other people more.
That's right. Well, I mean, when you go to, I mean, it falls back to basic social. You go to a party, and if you meet this person, you shake their hand, and next thing they're doing is just telling you their whole story on how awesome they are, you start wondering, it might be time to get another drink. You know, it's not going to work out. So it's the same thing in these technologies. We come in there, we just start blurting our whole story. Get to know the people. Get to know the people. I mean, we do business with people we feel like we like, and we know and we love. So, you know, get to know the person. The only way you can do that is by listening. And then, you know, everybody's grandmother said, God gave me 2 ears, 1 mouth. What's the first one?
I always say, you know, when you're young, you know, you got to listen before you talk. But my first-hand experience with that is, you know, I did a summer tour last year. I drove around the country. And a friend of mine, Brendan Mendelson, is also doing a big tour, and it's got huge sponsors, and he's got this huge truck, you know, for wired to the internet. And I saw his one sheet, and I got jealous. I was like, I don't have anything, and he's got all this stuff. And then I realized that it's about homelessness. So I started promoting him, because it's really not a competition. You know, it's really about fighting poverty. I'm not fighting people, I'm fighting poverty. And now we became friends, and he's supporting me.
With that?
But it's amazing that so many people don't get that.
Right. Well, and we get in our little silo, no matter what it is. I mean, you're overworking on poverty this way, and this other person's got this other idea. And there's 100 flags in the same stand, you know. And to the would-be contributor, to the would-be person that's on the outside of the stand, well, I don't, you know, it gets tricky, and the donor fatigue happens fast. And cause marketing on services like Twitter or through blogs and all that, it's beautiful in the one sense because you can really spread and crowdsource in a nice way. On the other side, I mean, everybody has a cause. I mean, I could do 20 causes a day and not get to them all. So if you don't band together, you don't work on it. I mean, people take swipes at the United Way all the time because they worry about the overhead, they worry about all that stuff. But what they are doing is they're sort of like a holding company for disbursement of all these other causes. So, you know, I guess I'm not smart enough to argue that point too well, but I will say that I think there's some benefit in having sort of a larger partnership where you can get more spread across more opportunities.
We're running down to the last couple of minutes here.
Okay.
Thank you for this is amazing. If you had a chance to say a word of wisdom to a nonprofit out there, or somebody that's, you know, just thinking about affecting change in their neighborhood, what would it be?
It's amazing how many times people say they when they start to go into some problems, you know. Well, they should do this for us in Northern Ireland. Some woman said when I was doing the autistic charity. I said, no, you're they. You are they. Go to chipin.org and set up an account and go for it and raise $3 grand for Northern Ireland. Who cares? And I think, so my thing is, you can all do anything. You can film something. You can go talk to someone. You know what humans need more than a lot of things? Just to be heard. You can do that. It's free. You don't have to have a job to listen to somebody. Start there and work up. I think it's a big opportunity. Well,
thank you very much for joining us today. It's been to me, both Jeff Pulver and Chris Brogan make technology, make social media human. And I think that's what we need to get back to as us nonprofits changing the world. We got to think about the people we're serving, the people we're helping, and listen to them. So once again, thank you Beacon Lounge, thank you What Gives, thank you